treacherous Marvel villain, or gallivanting across the galaxy as our favorite Time Lord. Let's welcome David Tenant! Population of Madison is actually here in this room.
Oh, okay, right. Well, it's lovely to see you all.
We've been asking all of our guests, first question off the bat, what's your love affair with cheese?
Oh, sorry.
Clearly the wrong answer.
One fell swoop, I've lost all the love. I mean, it's all right. I like cheese. As an ingredient of things. So I like it kind of melted on stuff. I like it in a sauce. Cheese for the sake, when someone wheels out the cheese board, I'm like, come on. That's not a dessert. Don't try and pretend that's in place of dessert. I want pudding.
Our last guest had a drawer of cheese at home. What are you?
What, a drawer made of cheese?
Maybe it's that. Maybe.
Yeah.
What are you crazy about? What's your food or something that you just love or passionate about?
Cookies.
Oh, cookies. No, yeah, cookies can work. I like just about everything you can do with a potato. Yeah. I like that.
You won the bag. You won the bag.
I'm back in the room. And I do find breakfast cereal hard to beat in all its many and luxuriant forms.
A breakfast cereal choice you have that we would recognize?
Do you know what I have? A little something that I forget exists until I come to America is Golden Grahams. I do. Something quite nice. I mean, I think they're really bad for you, but I don't think we're just not going to worry about that. Yeah.
Well, tell us, we're obviously huge fans of all your work, but how did you get into acting? Were you start in theater, or what was your background in acting?
I was just a kid who watched the TV and thought it looked like a fun job. You know, and I watched. There was a program called Doctor Who. I don't know if you've heard of it. And I watched that as a kid. And I remember having a conversation with my parents about people on TV and what they were doing, and that they were people pretending and telling stories. And I remember at a really young age getting what that was, and thinking that was a really good idea, and deciding that that's what I was going to do when I grew up. And it sort of all works out. So
That's okay.
That's why we're here.
As you know, everyone.
So many people in this room.
And everyone in this room are die-hard Whovians, die-hard fans of the show.
I think that one goes like Broadchurch.
Broadchurch.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Jessica Jones. Was there a show or something on TV that you, as a child, as a young adult, that you just loved?
Oh, I loved I loved all sorts of things. I mean, I did love Doctor Who. I was a Doctor Who fan. As many of the people who currently work on Doctor Who were, it seems to be sort of almost compulsory now to get a job on Doctor Who. You have to have grown up as a fan of it, but I definitely did that. And then, like American shows, I used to love the Incredible Hulk show. I love that. I love the Incredible Hulk comic book as well. I know, it was. There was something deeply tragic about it. Maybe it was the wig. But no, that was a fantastic. I loved all that stuff. There was quite an obscure British show called Into the Labyrinth. Does anyone here know that?
Oh, yeah.
Like one person. I used to love that when I was a kid. All sorts. Yeah.
Well, let's fast forward and tell us about the journey of getting into Doctor Who. Like, how did that happen?
Well, I was doing a show for the BBC called Casanova. Yes, that was me.
Pretty fun game for you today.
I had blue eyes, but other than that, it was me. I had to wear, because Peter O'Toole was the old Casanova, and I was the young Casanova. And nobody was about to tell Peter O'Toole that he had to change his eye colour, as he had some of the most famous eyes in all movie history. So I had to wear these thick blue contact lenses for weeks. But other than that, it was me. Just in case they threw you off. What was I saying? Yes, that's right. So I was doing Casanova, and it was written by Russell T Davies, who at the same time was in the middle of putting together the reboot of Doctor Who, along with Julie Gardner, the executive producer, also of both shows. So Casanova ended up being my kind of audition for Doctor Who, although I was completely unaware of it at the time, because I didn't realise they were looking for anyone. Russell asked me round to his house in Manchester, which is where we've been filming Casanova, because he had a couple of rough cuts of the first series of Doctor Who, and he knew that I was a bit of a fan, and that I might want to see how the show was looking. So he invited me over and he showed me a rough cut of Rose, the first episode, and I was very excited. And then he showed me a really rough cut of Dalek, the first Dalek episode, without any special effects or anything, but you could tell it was all very exciting. And then they told me that they wanted me to take over. This is before the show had even transmitted, so that was the slightly weird bit. Because, they hadn't, would you take over and can you film a scene for the end of episode 13 kind of in about 10 minutes? It was a bit like that. Which was odd because the show hadn't been out yet, so you were thinking, well, what if I film a little bit at the end of episode 13? The show doesn't ever go again, and I'm the person that played the Doctor for 35 seconds. But I would probably still have got a big finish series out of it, so
So you didn't have episode drawn, like you had seen up to that point?
I didn't unfortunately.
For the first season, Chris Eccleston, you didn't get a chance to see those shows before you auditioned for.
Well, I didn't. That's what I'm saying. I didn't really audition. They showed me some of these rough cuts around at Russell's house, and then they said, "Turns out we need someone for season 2. What do you think?" So it was slightly unexpected to say the least.
So the brilliance of Doctor Who is sort of that built-in ability to renew itself because of the regenerations and new doctors going into it and taking on that mantle. How clear the picture was it of what the 10th Doctor would be, and how did that sort of form into what we know and love?
It sort of kind of emerges through. I mean, because obviously Russell T Davies is writing it, so you've got scripts that are kind of brilliant. So that's quite a good starting point. And then you just, so you take the script and you have ideas of what you want to, how it needs to be, and you just kind of throw some energy at it and you see what sticks. Obviously there are the practical things like working out what you're going to wear, which ends up becoming this huge, vast question that can be quite onerous. That was quite difficult. We spent like days in a costume house in London, just going, what? No, thank you. I did always, one of the first things I said to Russell and Julie the very night they said, would you take over? Before I'd even said yes, I said, can I have a really long coat? I just think it's important. So yeah, the coat was kind of grey. Made of a sofa covering, would you believe? So yeah, you know, so finding the costume and putting all that together, that's all about kind of the pressure of that, and it's all very exciting until you realise you've actually got to turn up and do it, and people have got to watch it, and you've got to not break it. That's the thing. When you're being sort of handed something that's been loved and cherished down the generations, and has been running on and off certainly, but it's been running on TV since 1963. You think, oh, please don't let me be the person that makes a mess of this. So it's the pressure of that. I mean, it's hugely exciting to be plonked into the middle of something like that, but it is. You just want to get it right. You want your eight-year-old self to be proud of what you do.
Was there a certain point during the run that you realized that the magnitude of it really hits you, and just
all the time? It kept doing that, you know, sort of. Just the amount of attention it got. You know, when it was announced that you were doing it, just your life sort of just changes a bit. Everything's just you become. People are just interested in sort of everything about you from that moment on, which just takes a bit of adjusting. You know, you just have to get used to the idea that going to the supermarket will never quite be the same again.
12 people have already purchased your sweater online.
You're nice.
We have plenty of fan questions, but before we get to that, you know, I have loved you and I've hated you because of your role as Kilgrave.
Yeah.
Absolutely, by far, the best Marvel villain that we've seen, and
I think you say that to all the psychopaths.
What attracted you to that role, and wow, yeah, tell us about that experience.
Well, that was just, I got a phone call I actually did get a phone call from Jeff Lowe, who's the head of Marvel Television, who I used to read comic books that he'd written. So he sort of called you up and goes, so we're making the show, and I didn't know the comic book. I thought I was quite good on my Marvel comics. I'd never heard of the Jessica Jones comic book. But I read it and thought, oh, this is juicy. Not one for the kids, I have to say. Slightly more grown-up version of the Marvel Universe. PG-13 at least, I would say. But it was a great story, it was a great character. I got to be a character from a comic book. My 8-year-old self was quite pleased with that as well. Although I haven't shown him Jessica Jones yet. That would be weird on so many levels. Yeah, you know, it was too exciting to turn down.
With the fans that love your role as the 10th Doctor, were any of them in some way like mad that you played such a villainous role?
Well, only if they were stupid. In my experience, Doctor Who fans are not stupid by definition. I think people understand that, you know, actors play different roles, and that's part of what you do, and you know, just because you played a good guy doesn't necessarily mean you're a good guy. Just as playing a bad guy doesn't necessarily mean you're a psychopathic murderer. So, I think, I got the idea about actors and stories when I was very small, so I just assume everyone else does. I'm sorry if you don't.
Did you find that one was easier to play than another, playing a good guy versus playing?
They're just different. They're different sort of roles, different sort of challenges, I guess. But actually, what you have to do is approach each character for who they are, rather than going, oh, this is a baddie, how do I tune the scenery in this bit, or this is a goodie, therefore I can't do X, Y, Z. Each character just has to be. Well, it's neither good nor bad. It's the middle ground that's what makes characters interesting, I think. You know, it's the bits of Kilgrave that make him that where you see his vulnerability, or it's the bits of the Doctor where you see his darkness and his vengefulness. And when you get, that's what we all are. That's what human beings are, and probably Time Lords. So you know, I think that's part of what you're trying to do as an actress is find the bits that surprise an audience and the bits that the contradictions within a character, because that's what makes a character hopefully come alive, I think.
Well, you certainly contributed to a lot of sleepless nights in this room.
Good.
With your role, so. Let's go to our questions. There's an awesome little dude ready to go down here, so go ahead.
Hi, my name is Parker, and I have a question. How does the TARDIS make more rooms?
How does the TARDIS make more rooms? That is an excellent question. And luckily, I have a degree in transdimensional physics. Unfortunately, most of the people in this room probably wouldn't get it like you and I will. But it's all to do with things being... It's a bit wibbly wobbly. I know you understand it, I just don't know how to explain it to the rest of the people in the room. But there are always all those... Basically, the door into the TARDIS, you're actually going through a door into a different dimension. That's what's happening, you see. And in the other dimension, the TARDIS is enormous. It's bigger than this room, it's bigger than the whole convention centre. And it's got a gym, and it's got a playing field, and Starbucks, dozen Starbucks. So that's how it works. It's the door from dimensions, but you knew that. I've just explained it to the rest of you. Good question. Good question.
Next time we'll bring a whiteboard and a chart. You can just.
Oh yes, we'll do some calculations here.
I think I have to crouch down a little. Okay. First of all, you have. This is a long day for you, so thank you for being so awesome and doing autographs. On to my quick question. Have you seen or read The Martian? And if so, who is the true Martian man, the Doctor or Mark Watney? And also, will you mind saying hi to my friend Katie really quick?
Demanding these Madison.
Your friend
answers.
Katie?
Yeah.
Hi Katie. Are you filming this?
I am.
You're filming this for Katie.
For Katie.
Well, hi Katie. How are you? What was the question? I've seen The Martian, yes.
Yeah, so who is the real Martian man? The Doctor, Tenant, or Mark Watney?
Well, neither of them are Martians. One of them's from Earth, the Gallifreyan. Katie, your friend asked a really weird question.
Welcome to Madison, David. Okay.
So, I'm Leanne.
Hi, Leanne.
Okay, so why do you always act in your English accent and not your Scottish one?
Well, I don't always. It just depends on what the part is. Broadchurch.
Yeah, well, I know about Scottish.
Broadchurch, I'm a very grizzled Glaswegian. I sort of, it's kind of half and half, I suppose. The Doctor Who thing was absolutely what Russell imagined. He wanted a sort of, and that came out of doing Casanova, I think. It's sort of the same voice, really. I suppose in British terms, there's a sort of, and this is breaking down, and this isn't even true as I say it, but there's a sort of more neutral version of a British accent, whereas a Scottish accent is so specifically regional. I suppose maybe it was something to do with that. I don't know what I'm talking about. I got up really early. I was in New York this morning. No, I suppose, I don't know. These things all just come from whatever the production is, whatever that production requires. I'm happy to do both, is what I'm saying. That was really quick, yeah. I took too long.
Dave, you know how we mentioned Broadchurch and Grace Point. How is it playing kind of the mirror image of the same role, and what was that like? How's the experience so different playing it from one?
It was different, and it was exactly the same. That was what was unusual, is that it was. I've never done anything like that before, because we did. For anyone who doesn't know, we did Broadchurch here, and then we did basically the same story, but an American version set in Northern California, although filmed in Canada. It was really interesting to revisit a story like that, playing sort of the same character, but kind of a few degrees to the side, or whatever, however you would describe that. It was lovely. I mean, it's a story that I love telling. It was great to do it in slightly different ways and to re-experience it, I suppose. I mean, if you do theatre, you do the same thing every night. So actually doing the same story on the other side of the world with a completely different set of people wasn't such a... didn't feel like a repetition. It felt just like another way of examining something that was like something you'd done before, I suppose.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
I'm shaking just standing here.
Don't shake, it's fine.
I'm talking.
Come on, we can have a chat. Come over here, come have a chat.
Not really.
What's your name?
Jonathan.
Where'd you come from?
I live in Economowoc. I came from up north.
Is that far?
Not really.
How many kids you got?
0 now.
Don't say that. Having kids is great.
Not at 13.
A good point, well made. So what's your question?
It's kind of insignificant at this point, but what was your favorite part of Doctor Who? Just about it in general, moment to see and
Having your own TARDIS is pretty cool.
that was pretty awesome.
It's getting to play with all the buttons on the TARDIS, and nobody can tell you to stop because it's yours. What's your favourite bit?
Well, I have 2 favorite episodes because the first ones I watched, Doomsday and We Are Ghosts.
Nice. Yeah, 2 good episodes, well chosen. You're clearly a man of good taste. When you do have kids, they'll have an excellent father. Well done.
Okay, no adults are going to get pulled on stage, okay? That's not happening. Yes, go ahead.
I love you too.
Okay, sound down, Madison. All right, here we go.
I was wondering if while you were filming Doctor Who, if you ever picked up any of the Doctor's quirks or phrases in real life.
I think he picked up some of mine. It's one of those parts that inevitably it has sort of echoes of whoever's doing it. I think it's sort of got to, because it's a bit of a blank canvas, so you kind of come to it and you kind of got to make your own impression. You've got to sort of give it your own spin. So inevitably that's going to come from you a bit. So I don't know if I... Yeah, then I suppose it gets difficult to know what you're bringing to a character, what a character is kind of leaving you with. But I'm not aware of it sort of change, sort of infecting my everyday life. But it probably did. It's probably for others to judge quite what that is, rather than me be able to tell. I was all a bit too close to it, I suspect.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I love you as the Doctor, obviously.
Thank you.
And I also love you as
you should probably seek some help.
Is there anything, I know you and John Barrowman had a lot of fun on the set of Doctor Who. Was there anything like that kind of happened on the set of Jessica Jones?
What are you referring to with me and John Barron? What has he said now?
Several videos of you two,
I thought they'd all be deleted.
I mean,
Isn't it brilliant that John Barrowman, now you just say his name and it sounds like a double entendre? How did he manage to make that happen across the world? Sorry.
Any shenanigans on Jessica Jones?
Shenanigans. What should I think? I can't think of what shenanigans there were. Certainly very little I'm willing to admit to in public. It was great fun filming that because there's something very seductive about having that power. You know, because you can sort of, as a human being, you can think, wouldn't that be amazing? Everything you requested just happened. And actually filming those scenes was sort of a bit intoxicating. You'd be doing these scenes, you'd be going, throw coffee in your face, do this, do that, bring me that, stand upside down, shoot yourself in the head. And whatever you said, it just happened in the room around you. And that was quite sort of, and then of course they'd shout cut and it stopped. I can't think of any specific shenanigans that I'm going to admit to.
Did you have a favorite moment on Jessica Jones?
There's lots. I like the whole episode that's set in the containment centre. I love that. I think it's such a great bit of writing. Jessica!
You should have brought your ear.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's go here. Oh, beautiful dress. Yes, sir.
So, do you believe that everything you see actually exists?